What's happening? Will Freeman, revolutionarylifestyledesign.com. Coming to you today, part 5, how to fight fear. Tactic number 4, controlling your physical state. All right, if you haven't watched the other 4 videos in this series, please check them out, especially number 1, where we talk about the actual strategies and why it's so important to fight fear for your quality of life and pursuit of happiness. And in the last couple of videos, we talked about tactics for social anxiety and things like this. In this one, we are talking about the specific tactic in your battle against fear, controlling your physical state. And this might be one of, if not the most important tactics in your battle against fear. Maybe even more so than controlling your mental state. And because when you change your physical state, you change your mental state. You change the neurotransmitters within your body, within your brain, and that in turn changes the thoughts that you have. So you might have racing thoughts and fearful thoughts, and after a good 45 minutes of exercise and a nice long hot shower and then a cold shower, those racing thoughts are gone and you feel nice and relaxed. Okay, this is changing your physical state, even without drugs or supplements at all, is a very, very powerful, if not more powerful way to reduce your levels of fear, especially if you make it part of your daily routine. The daily routine is so crucial, okay? I talk about this in my book, How to Get Organized. I talk about this in part 2, how to set that up. If you want to see the book, check out revolutionarylifestyledesign.com/ how to get organized or / books, whichever way you want to get it. But you got to have that daily routine. If you are serious about lowering your level of fear and anxiety and stress, you have to have a daily routine so that everything is running smoothly, okay? And this is especially true when it comes with your physical state, because there are 5 key things that you have to do, and we are much more human than we want to admit, okay? When I was younger and I started really reading personal development, I was like, man, I'm gonna be able to control my state so well, I'm gonna be able to eat whatever I want, and it doesn't work that way, okay? We are much more human than we think we are. Your physical state and your well-being very much depends on what you ate that afternoon, okay? If you went in and ate something shitty and you ate too many carbs, you could be feeling very depressed and lethargic, even though you were in a great mood before that. This is especially true as you get older. I'm gonna be 35 this year, and every single year, the diet and everything being in check becomes much more important, which sucks because I love to eat, and I love to eat all kinds of food, especially the food that's not healthy for me. So, but it is what it is, okay? And the reward you get from controlling your state is the fact that you get to live. It is very, very helpful for creating a low fear lifestyle, okay? So the 4 key things that I'm gonna focus on here are sleep, diet, physical routine, and supplements. And they are all, I would say, equally important, all right? The idea is fear comes from a lack of neurotransmitters, okay? You've got acetylcholine, you've got dopamine, you've got serotonin, you've got GABA. Any very low levels of any of those neurotransmitters is gonna be bad news. However, the big 2 to watch for are serotonin and GABA, okay? Serotonin is the one that the SSRIs, or the prescription antidepressants and anti-anxiety drugs, focus on, whereas GABA is the one that phenibut and alcohol focuses on, okay? The ones that make you feel relaxed. Also your opiates are something to take into account. Then that's what the feeling you get of relaxation that you get from kratom or exercise. And the entire way that you feel is based on the chemicals within your brain, okay? Everything comes down to having those chemicals at a consistently high level, ideally as naturally as possible, with some supplementation here or there, but not hardcore stuff like MDMA, which is gonna throw everything out of whack, okay? It is about making your neurotransmitters consistently high so that you consistently feel low levels of fear. Okay, if your neurotransmitters are consistently low, you're gonna feel fearful. You're gonna have a lot of reframing to do with your thoughts. It's that simple. And those neurotransmitters are within your body. So they are 100%, not 100%, but they are very dependent on how you feel within your body. So that should be a major part of your goal, is getting those neurotransmitters to a consistently high level on a daily basis. And a large part of that comes down to your physical routine. So number one is sleep. Okay, you cannot slack on sleep, big time. All right, you want to get a cold, you want to start to feel anxious, then start cutting off your sleep. Look at anybody who has a young child where they only get 2 or 3 hours of sleep at night, and they're constantly getting up. They are anxious. They're going to be like 20% more fearful about all their bills and everything else, because they're not getting enough sleep, because your brain is not restoring itself properly, and therefore cannot produce the proper levels of neurotransmitters that you need to not feel fear on a consistent basis. Okay, that's the one thing that's important. Quality sleep is just important. Okay, over there in that corner, I have a CPAP machine because I snore and stop breathing during my sleep. One part of that is the hockey stick I took to the nose in grade 5 that deviated my septum. Another part is like, apparently I have a naturally small throat and a long tongue. I went and got it checked to the doctor, and it's like, he was surprised because I wasn't overweight, but had those symptoms. Every girl I slept next to said that it sounds like you're dying. And it pretty much took me until last year where I was like, you know what, I better get that checked out before I die in my sleep. And I had sleep apnea, so I sleep with a fucking Darth Vader mask. I haven't noticed a ton of a difference, but I do feel good knowing that I am getting air and I'm not waking up 200 times a night. And I'm probably getting a lot of cumulative benefits from that, and benefits that will occur throughout the years. Although I have heard from guys, especially Victor Pride, said that the oxygen concentrator is a big thing, and using like a tongue depressant thing. So that's something I'm going to look into to make sure that I'm getting the right levels of oxygen. But it's on the agenda. One of my many projects on the agenda. For now, I'm just using the CPAP machine. All right. Big thing to take care of is your sleep. If your sleep is fucked, okay, your chemicals are going to be fucked, and they're never out of whack in a good way. It's never like, okay, I'm not getting adequate sleep, so now that I have higher than average neurotransmitters. No, it's always going to be lower. All right. And the other important thing is making sure that you are getting up early. All right, you're getting up I like to get up at 6 o'clock, and that's because the circadian rhythm is a real thing. Your body produces testosterone around that time. You're used to getting up around the sunrise. You're evolved for it. And it's one of those things where I would have thought was like hippie bullshit, but I've tried it so many times. I would love to be able to go out late at night and party, but I just can't do it. Even the difference between waking up at 6 and waking up at 8 is a big difference. But waking up at 6 and waking up at 10 is like a huge difference, not just in energy levels, but in terms of, how stable my mood is and how calm I feel. Getting up early and going to bed around that 10 to 12 o'clock window at night is very important. The way you do that is check out my article on how to become a morning person, where I talk about basically you just make sure that you're up at 6 and then you fall asleep whenever you're tired. And eventually this sleep cycle will rewire itself. And some nights you'll get a bit less rest, but then you'll be more tired that day and you'll fall asleep a bit earlier, and it evens itself out. But the key is to set the clock for 6 and get up in accordance. So that's number 1, that's sleep. Number 2 is diet. Again, it all comes down to the neurotransmitters in your brain, and neurotransmitters, just like everything else in your body, are based on what you eat. If you are inputting your machine with garbage, then the output is going to be garbage. Okay, if you're feeding yourself just nothing but junk food, then you're not going to have the proper levels of neurotransmitters, and things aren't going to be functioning properly, and you're going to feel it with increased fear and increased anxiety because you are feeding your machine garbage. All right, especially when it comes to stuff like serotonin and GABA. So the big things in diet are like getting adequate water, which is like 2 liters per day. Your body is 75% water. Correct me if I'm wrong. But you are made up primarily of water, so it's important to make sure that all your cells are getting adequate water. Um, the eating clean is important, which is hard for me. I would say I'm eating clean 70% of the time, at least during the day, and then at night I'll usually have a dessert, sometimes more than one. But that's still something that I'm looking to get full control of. But really, you just have to be eating mostly clean, okay? Especially during the day, when the days like, for me at least, is when I would have more fear levels. I'm not particularly prone to fear or anxiety because I've done a lot of work and I've got my everything together. I think, but the day, there's definitely more. The nights to me is more relaxing. So the days when you want to eat clean, especially and keep those energy levels, high, and those fear levels low, and those neurotransmitters high. Okay, so eat clean, as clean as you can. Have that consistent energy coming. I eat a lot of chicken breasts and rice throughout the day to give me like a consistent energy level, and to keep me feeling relatively calm. A big thing to look out for is blood sugar drops. Okay, if you haven't eaten carbs, or if you're like me, if I haven't eaten carbs in a while, okay, I intermittent fast till noon, but if I don't eat a carb let's say 2 o'clock, then my mood starts to go down and anxiety starts to go up. I don't get quite dizzy, but I get to the point where I'm a slight bit nauseous, and the anxiety gets a bit higher. Not that it's high to begin with, but it's a big thing, is making sure that you have your blood sugar is consistent throughout the day. I'm not a huge fan of these really low carb diets unless you work well on it. I'm a fan of having the consistent carbs throughout the day, not too much, but enough so that your fucking blood sugar is consistent. All right, it becomes more important as you get older, big time. And the last thing on diet is FODMAPs, which is an acronym for. It's a massive acronym that I'm not going to butcher here, but you can look it up. It's capital F. It's all capital letters: FODMAPS, and basically it's a term for a long-term carbohydrates, or long chain carbohydrates that your body has difficulty digesting. Okay, some examples are gluten, dairy. Those are the major ones that people know about, but the other examples are like garlic, onions, strawberries. There's some like weird shit on there, to the point where I was wondering why shawarmas didn't sit well with me, and then I looked into FODMAPs and it was like, oh, garlic and onions and dairy, it's like a triple threat for me. Whereas I'm okay with gluten, but and I'm decent with cheese, but like milk is a no-go. Garlic is a no-go. Onions is okay, but it's not great. But you have to learn what your FODMAPs are, okay? If you're constantly having like irritable bowels, then you probably have a number of different FODMAPs that are not sitting well with you, and that's something you definitely need to get in check, because if you have an irritable stomach, that means you're not digesting food properly, and it means you're not getting proper nutrients, and therefore your neurochemicals are not going to be proper, and they will be lower, and you will have more anxiety than if you got your diet in check. Okay, you don't have to eat super healthy, but you just, like, a big thing is just avoiding what you're allergic to and figuring out what you're allergic to. So like, go to the Wikipedia FODMAPs page and start looking into those, because there's stuff like strawberries and things like that on there. Or for some people, chocolate is no good. You really have to be careful. And whereas, like, I can eat a cheeseburger from McDonald's and I don't feel particularly great, but it's not as bad as eating a lot of garlic. So understand what you're allergic to and try and avoid eating those things so you get the proper nutrition. That's my point. And try and make sure that your diet is on point. If not on point, like at least 70% there, or at least 50% there. At least eat clean during the day. Healthy lunches, dirty dinners. At least do your dirt at night after you've done the work for the day. Okay. At least try and move the ball forward a little bit if diet's like a big problem. If you'd love to eat like I do, I know, eating healthy is boring as fuck, but if you are having a problem with anxiety, then you do have to get serious, and that's one of the serious areas to help you live a low fear lifestyle. So that's number 2. Number 3 in controlling your physical state is controlling your physical routine. Okay, I'm going to give you my physical routine. I wake up at 6. I start getting the water in me. I take a caffeine pill. We'll talk about caffeine. That might be something that you want to avoid, but I take it and I've got my energy, and now I start doing stretching. I use a TheraCane on my back. I do shoulder dislocations with a TheraBand. I stretch my neck out and I really loosen myself up, okay? Because I have a bit of scoliosis in my upper spine, and this helps to loosen me up. It also helps to get me relaxed. I've loosened my back up at least 50% over the last 3 years, and it's something I'll do a video on. Very, very helpful, and it starts making me feel relaxed. And you want to have as little tension in your body as possible, okay? Because tension produces cortisol, produces stress hormones, and when that tension is relaxed, like after a massage, you physically feel more relaxed, okay? So I do the stretching, and I hop on the the elliptical, and I do medium intensity for like the first 15 minutes and then high intensity for the last 5. And I do that every morning, and 2 days out of the week I do heavy lifting before that with weights, including like heavy squats. And that does a big job for relaxing me. And then I come back and I do my yoga routine, okay, which you can look on for my videos of my quick like 15-minute yoga routine. I do that. Then I usually do a prayer, or sometimes I'll just lie on the mat and do a quick meditation, relax, control my thoughts a little bit. Then I hop in the shower and I do like a 20-minute hot shower, sometimes 30 minutes, man, because I love my hot shower. And I do some more stretching. I just loosen up, I'm stretching up my neck a little bit. And then I turn the shower to cool or cold. And I don't get the cold shower that I had in Canada here in Thailand, but I get a cool shower to cool down, all right? And throughout the day, I will take another 1 or 2 hot showers followed by cool showers. And there is no time where I get out of the shower and I do not feel 10 to 15% more relaxed. A long hot shower and followed by a cool shower, which is why I take 2 to 3 showers a day. I also like being clean, and it's really fucking hot in this country, so I kind of have to. But that is my daily routine. I also try and minimize ejaculation as much as humanly possible, okay? If fear is a big problem for you, maybe the best anti-anxiety that I know of is no ejaculation. No porn, no masturbation, no ejaculation for as long as you can. That is a massive, massive fear killer, if not the big one, okay? So try and do that as little as you can, all right? And, you know, that's the routine that I would recommend. Or you can just take those things that I do and use them, you know, where it's necessary for you. But again, the more exercise, the better. The more hot showers, the more yoga, the more stretching, the more ejaculation. Even if you want to get massage, all that stuff is really good, okay? And, you know, there's a point where you can get too much of it, but, you know, for most purposes, like the more that the better. Or you can just follow my routine or use them as necessary, okay? Those are the things I recommend. Lastly, number 4, supplements, okay? Supplements do work. Most don't, but the ones that do are quite effective, okay? So I take caffeine every day. Now, if you have a big problem with anxiety, I would avoid caffeine if at all possible, okay? If you have high energy levels but you have anxiety, I would avoid caffeine. Caffeine definitely does raise anxiety, does raise fear. However, I'm very much addicted to it, and it gives me energy. And, you know, there's some other health benefits to it. I'm considering going on a caffeine fast, but every time I do, I become very unproductive, and then I go back on. So it also helps blunt my appetite so that I don't have to eat till noon, and I get to keep my intermittent fasting nice and clean. So anxiety is not a huge problem for me. However, I have started taking caffeine with theanine in the mornings, okay? Theanine is a GABA agonist, which is one of the chemicals responsible for relaxation, which we covered already. It's the same one that phenibut and alcohol cover, except it's one that you can take 5 days a week without much tolerance and without much withdrawal. So I take it in the morning with 100 milligrams of caffeine. I take the GABA, and then I take it again in the afternoon when I have another caffeine pill or mocha frappuccino. All right. So that's 5 days a week. I recommend taking zinc magnesium, ZMA, every night before bed. Okay, 500 milligrams. I've tested them both. You might not need the ZMA. You might just be good with magnesium or calcium and magnesium. But you take that before bed, and that is a game changer, especially if you take a lot of caffeine, because caffeine leaches magnesium out of your body. All right. If you've ever had an Epsom salts bath and it felt amazing, that's because you're magnesium deficient, and you're getting magnesium through your pores through the Epsom salts. But I swear to you, when I started taking like magnesium, it probably cut off intrusive thoughts or like fearful thoughts by like 20%. It's huge. It's massive. And I realized I was completely magnesium deficient because of probably a few things in my diet, a few things with my gut, and the fact that I take so much caffeine. So that's the number one supplement that I would recommend everybody takes. I'll give you links below in the article on revolutionarylifestyledesign.com. And very, very important that you take magnesium. You will notice a difference within 3 to 4 days. And since you're just restoring a supplement that you're deficient in, you can take it every day. As opposed to theanine, which I would probably only take 5 days a week. I'm still figuring out my game plan. All right, I'm still figuring out the total game plan. But for now, it's 5 days a week of theanine. It's ZMA every day before bed. It is also 5-HTP before bed, 5 days a week on the weekend or on the weekdays. 5-HTP is a serotonin agonist as opposed to a GABA agonist, which is another chemical help, which is one of the other big neurotransmitters that is responsible for relaxing you. And this is, again, is something that you will feel within 2 to 3 days. Some guys have told me that it's stronger or works better for them than a prescription SSRI. And it's natural, it's synthesized from tryptophan. It's basically like eating a big turkey dinner before bed, except without, all the health consequences. Okay, that's what high levels of tryptophan feel like. Now, it takes a bit of the energy off the next day. It takes a bit of the edge off of your thinking, maybe by like 5%, but you do feel pretty damn calm. Like, I'm in traffic and I'm like, I just have less anxiety, less and more calm, and it's really gonna help, control your physical state. All right. And the other two that I would conditionally recommend if you don't have an addictive personality, okay, is Phenibut and Kratom. You can see my review for Phenibut, which is a GABA agonist. It's the best one I know of, but it does have addiction potential and serious withdrawal potential. So I don't recommend it using it for more than 1 to 2 days per week. The other one is Kratom, which again affects your opiates and also has addiction and withdrawal potential. And I don't recommend using that more than 2 days a week. So what you can do on the weekends is you can do like Saturday Phenibut, Sunday Kratom, or Saturday Sunday Phenibut, or Saturday Sunday Kratom if you like the other one more, depending on which you like. But again, if you have an addictive personality, that's a no-no, big time. I don't want anyone getting a habit because of me. This is if you are already, if you have really good self-control, then you can do that. So basically, here's how it looks. You've got your magnesium every day before bed. Then you've got caffeine every day, or ideally no caffeine. And then you've got theanine 5 days a week, which gives 2 days off. Theanine 5 days a week on weekdays, which gives 2 days off for your receptors to recover. And then you've got 5-HTP 5 days a week during the weekends, which gives you, again, 2 days to recover on the weekend your serotonin receptors. Okay, and then you have the sort of more recreational ones that you only want to take once or twice a week on the weekends. Give that a shot. Let me know. You can do it without the Phenibut or Kratom completely. Okay, and just have the weekend sort of be a recovery period. You will still get sort of a positive hangover because as the 5-HTP and theanine are clearing out of your system. So you still will feel higher than normal, especially with the magnesium in there. And if you're going to my site and you've tried my how to feel 15% better with caffeine, caffeine, 5-HTP, magnesium, and L-DOPA, take that article and just take the L-DOPA out. If anxiety and fear is a big problem, then L-DOPA will not be your friend, okay? And that's very important to understand, because there are a few things that you should avoid when it comes to supplements, all right? Avoid caffeine if possible. Avoid minimize, if not, then like try and minimize your caffeine to where you're functional, but you're not going overboard. And stay the fuck away from weed. That's gonna jack up your paranoia. And stay away from any dopamine agonists, which are nicotine, cocaine, Adderall, and L-DOPA. Even though L-DOPA is natural and less effective than those, it is a dopamine agonist, and they will, dopamine will like lift your mood, but it also jacks up your fear. So those drugs should be avoided, and that's very important. Okay, if you are smoking a lot of weed and wondering why you're fearful and paranoid, you're wondering if it's the weed. Yes, it's the weed. Okay, yes, it's the weed. For a lot of guys that I know who smoke a lot of weed, they are more fearful than the average guy. When I used to smoke a lot of weed in university, I became quite paranoid. It's not the drug for me. I wish it was, because there's stuff that I like about it, but it definitely brings out that paranoia. So avoid those ones, all right? That's it. That's how to control your physical state, sleep, diet, routine, supplements. But again, make sure you check out this whole series. This is part number 5, and especially check out part number 1 so that you have the right strategy and not just specific tactics. You really need the right strategy, the right meta frame for approaching fear, because it is such a big issue, and it is so important to get fear under control to maintain your quality of life and your pursuit of happiness. And that's it. So stay tuned for part 6 on the next tactic. And as always, thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. Thank you for checking me out at revolutionarylifestyledesign.com. I wish you all the best in your personal development journey.